If you are over 50 and your back is stiff every single morning when you wake up, I need you to understand something important right now. That stiffness is not just normal aging. It is not something you simply have to accept, and it is definitely not something that cannot be changed. I hear the same thing from patients in my office week after week. They tell me their doctor said it is just wear and tear. They were told to take anti-inflammatory medication and rest. They were sent home with no real explanation of what is actually happening inside their body and no real plan to address it. And that frustrates me because when you understand what is actually causing that morning stiffness, the real biological reasons it happens after 50, you have actual power to do something about it, not just manage it, actually change it. So that is what today's video is about. I am going to walk you through exactly what is happening inside your spine and your body after 50 that causes that stiffness every morning. And then I am going to give you the specific solutions for each cause so you can start addressing the root of the problem instead of just covering up the symptoms. Stay with me through this entire video because the section on sciatica is one that I know a lot of you watching right now need to hear. And it might explain something you have been dealing with for a long time that nobody has properly explained to you. Let's get into it. The second major cause of morning stiffness after 50 is something that affects every single person as they age, but that most people never connect to their back pain. It is called sarcopenia, and it simply means the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength that happens naturally as we get older. After the age of 30, we begin losing muscle mass at a rate of approximately 3 to 5% per decade. After 50, that rate accelerates, and the muscles that matter most for your back, the deep stabilizing muscles that wrap around your spine, the glutes, the hip flexors, the core, all of them are affected. Here is why this matters so much for morning stiffness specifically. Your spine is held upright and protected by a complex system of muscles. When those muscles are strong and active, they take load off your discs and joints. They absorb shock. They maintain proper alignment. They make movement smooth and pain-free. But when those muscles are weak and atrophied from years of relative inactivity, your spine has to rely more heavily on passive structures, the discs, the joints, the ligaments, to absorb load and maintain stability. These structures are not designed to work alone. They are not designed to be primary load bearers, and when they are forced to do so over months and years, the result is pain, stiffness, and degeneration. After a full night of sleep, those already weakened muscles are at their least activated state. They have not been asked to do anything for hours. They are essentially switched off. And when you first try to move in the morning with minimal muscle support on an already stressed spine, the stiffness and pain you feel is your body signaling that it does not have the support it needs. The solution for muscle loss: resistance exercise is the only thing that reverses sarcopenia. Walking helps, stretching helps. But only resistance exercise, exercises that challenge your muscles against load, actually rebuilds lost muscle tissue. This does not mean you need to go to a gym and lift heavy weights. Bodyweight exercises done consistently are extremely effective. The glute bridges, bird dogs, and pelvic tilts from video 2 are exactly the right kind of exercises for this. Consistency matters more than intensity. 3 to 4 sessions per week of targeted back and core strengthening exercises will make a measurable difference in your morning stiffness within 4 to 6 weeks. The second major cause of morning stiffness after 50 is something that affects every single person as they age, but that most people never connect to their back pain. It is called sarcopenia, and it simply means the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength that happens naturally as we get older. After the age of 30, we begin losing muscle mass at a rate of approximately 3 to 5% per decade. After 50, that rate accelerates, and the muscles that matter most for your back, the deep stabilizing muscles that wrap around your spine, the glutes, the hip flexors, the core, all of them are affected. Here is why this matters so much for morning stiffness specifically. Your spine is held upright and protected by a complex system of muscles. When those muscles are strong and active, they take load off your discs and joints. They absorb shock. They maintain proper alignment. They make movement smooth and pain-free. But when those muscles are weak and atrophied from years of relative inactivity, your spine has to rely more heavily on passive structures, the discs, the joints, the ligaments, to absorb load and maintain stability. These structures are not designed to work alone. They are not designed to be primary load bearers. And when they are forced to do so over months and years, the result is pain, stiffness, and degeneration. After a full night of sleep, those already weakened muscles are at their least activated state. They have not been asked to do anything for hours. They are essentially switched off, and when you first try to move in the morning with minimal muscle support on an already stressed spine, the stiffness and pain you feel is your body signaling that it does not have the support it needs. The solution for muscle loss: resistance exercise, is the only thing that reverses sarcopenia. Walking helps, stretching helps. But only resistance exercise, exercises that challenge your muscles against load, actually rebuilds lost muscle tissue. This does not mean you need to go to a gym and lift heavy weights. Bodyweight exercises done consistently are extremely effective. The glute bridges, bird dogs, and pelvic tilts from video 2 are exactly the right kind of exercises for this. Consistency matters more than intensity. 3 to 4 sessions per week of targeted back and core strengthening exercises will make a measurable difference in your morning stiffness within 4 to 6 weeks. The third cause of morning stiffness after 50 is one that I see in almost every single patient over 55 who comes to my office with back pain, and it is one that is very commonly misunderstood. Your spine has two types of joints: the discs between the vertebrae that we already talked about, and the facet joints, small paired joints at the back of each vertebra that guide and limit the movement of your spine. These facet joints are lined with cartilage, the same smooth protective tissue that lines your knee and hip joints, and just like your knee and hip cartilage, the cartilage in your facet joints wears down over time. The medical term for this is facet joint arthropathy, or simply spinal arthritis. Now, I want to be very clear about something, because this is where a lot of patients get unnecessarily frightened. Arthritis in the spine sounds scary, but for the vast majority of people over 50, some degree of spinal arthritis is present, and it does not have to mean severe pain. It does not have to mean disability, and it absolutely does not mean surgery. What it does mean is that those joints become inflamed, swollen, and stiff, particularly after periods of inactivity. After a full night of sleep, the synovial fluid inside those joints, the lubricating fluid that allows smooth movement, thickens and settles. The inflamed joint lining tightens, and the first movements of the morning are stiff and uncomfortable until that fluid warms up and starts moving again. This is very similar to what happens in arthritic knee joints in the morning, and the solution is the same. The solution for facet joint stiffness: gentle movement is the most effective treatment for arthritic joint stiffness. The cat-cow exercise from video 2 is particularly effective for facet joints because it cycles the spine through flexion and extension, pumping synovial fluid through the joints and reducing stiffness rapidly. Heat applied to the lower back for 10 to 15 minutes in the morning before activity can also significantly reduce facet joint stiffness by increasing blood flow to the area and reducing inflammation. A simple heating pad or a warm shower before your morning exercises can make a noticeable difference. Anti-inflammatory foods, things like fatty fish, turmeric, leafy greens, and olive oil, also help reduce the chronic low-level inflammation that drives facet joint arthritis over time. The fourth cause is one that almost nobody talks about when discussing morning back stiffness, and yet it affects every single person over 50 who wakes up feeling tight. It is the fascia. Fascia is a thin, tough connective tissue that wraps around and connects every muscle, bone, nerve, and organ in your body. It is essentially a continuous web of tissue that holds your entire body together and transmits forces from one area to another. When you are young, fascia is hydrated, supple, and elastic. It glides smoothly. But as we age, fascia becomes less hydrated, less flexible, and more prone to developing adhesions, areas where the tissue essentially sticks together and loses its ability to glide freely. At night, while you are lying still in one position, your fascia settles into that position. The tissue cools slightly, the fluid within it thickens slightly. Adhesions that have developed over years of repetitive movement patterns become more pronounced. When you wake up and try to move, that fascia has to unstick and start gliding again. And for many people over 50 with chronic fascia tightness, this process is uncomfortable. It feels like your entire back is wrapped too tight, like you cannot fully straighten up, like you need several minutes of movement before your body feels like it belongs to you again. The solution for fascia tightening: hydration, is critically important for fascia health. The same consistent water intake that helps your discs also keeps your fascia supple. Slow, sustained stretching held for 30 to 60 seconds is more effective for fascia release than quick dynamic stretching, because fascia responds to sustained, gentle pressure rather than rapid movement. Self-massage with a foam roller or a tennis ball on the muscles of the lower back, Glutes and hip flexors for 5 to 10 minutes before bed can significantly reduce overnight fascia tightening and make the morning much more comfortable. Now, I want to talk about something that I know a significant number of you watching this video are dealing with, and it is something that goes beyond simple muscle stiffness: sciatica. If your morning stiffness is accompanied by any of the following: a sharp burning or shooting pain that runs from your lower back down through your buttock and into your leg, numbness or tingling in your leg or foot, a feeling like an electric shock running down one side, or weakness in one leg, then what you are experiencing is not just back stiffness. You are experiencing nerve pain, and it needs to be understood differently. Let me explain what sciatica actually is, because there is a lot of confusion about this. The sciatic nerve is the largest nerve in your body. It starts in your lower back, runs through your buttock, down the back of your thigh, past your knee, and all the way to your foot. It is formed by several nerve roots that exit your lumbar spine and sacrum and combine to form this single large nerve. Sciatica is not a diagnosis by itself, it is a symptom. It means that the sciatic nerve, or one of the nerve roots that form it, is being compressed or irritated somewhere along its path. And after 50, there are several reasons this becomes more likely. The most common causes of sciatica after 50, the first and most common cause is a herniated disc. When a spinal disc degenerates and the outer ring weakens, the soft center can bulge outward and press against one of the nerve roots that forms the sciatic nerve. This is called a disc herniation or a slip disc. The pressure on the nerve root causes pain, numbness, and tingling that radiates down the leg. The second common cause after 50 is spinal stenosis. This is a narrowing of the spaces within the spine through which nerves travel. As discs lose height and facet joints develop arthritic changes, the spaces for nerves become progressively narrower. The nerve gets compressed not from a sudden herniation, but from a gradual narrowing of its pathway. This is extremely common after 60. The third cause is piriformis syndrome. The piriformis is a small muscle deep in your buttock. The sciatic nerve runs either through or very close to this muscle. When the piriformis becomes tight and inflamed, which happens very commonly with prolonged sitting, which most of us do a lot of, it can compress the sciatic nerve and cause all the symptoms of sciatica without any disc herniation at all. Why sciatica is worse in the morning. During the night when you are lying still, your inflamed disc, narrow canal or tight piriformis muscle is in a fixed position. The nerve is being compressed in the same position for hours. The inflammation around the compressed nerve builds up overnight. The muscles around the area tighten protectively. When you wake up and try to move, you are asking that compressed, inflamed nerve to suddenly start functioning again after hours in a compromised position. This is why many sciatica sufferers find that their symptoms are most severe in the first 30 to 60 minutes after waking. The solution for sciatica, first and most importantly, if you have leg pain, numbness, or tingling that has not been evaluated by a doctor, please get it evaluated. There are specific types of nerve compression that require medical attention, and it is important to know what you are dealing with before starting any exercise program. For the majority of sciatica cases that are related to disc herniation, spinal stenosis, or piriformis syndrome, the following approaches are highly effective. For piriformis syndrome, the seated piriformis stretch is one of the most immediate sources of relief. Sit in a chair, cross your right ankle over your left knee, gently lean forward while keeping your back straight. You will feel a deep stretch in your right buttock. Hold for 30 to 60 seconds. Repeat on the left side. Do this 2 to 3 times on each side every morning before getting out of bed. For disc-related sciatica, the standing back extension exercise from video 2 is particularly effective because it moves the disc material forward and away from the nerve root. 10 gentle repetitions every morning. For stenosis-related sciatica, gentle forward flexion movements, like the knee to chest stretch, tend to provide the most relief because they open the spaces in the spine and reduce the compression on the nerve. Walking is also highly therapeutic for sciatica of all types. 20 to 30 minutes of gentle walking daily reduces nerve inflammation, improves circulation to the nerve, and prevents the muscle weakening that makes sciatica worse over time. And finally, heat and ice used alternately can provide significant relief during an acute flare. Ice for the first 48 to 72 hours of a new flare to reduce inflammation, then switch to heat to increase blood flow and relax the surrounding muscles. The fifth underlying cause of morning back stiffness after 50 is one that connects all of the other causes together. and it is something that is significantly within your control to address. Chronic low-level inflammation. Inflammation is your body's natural healing response. When tissue is damaged or stressed, your body sends inflammatory chemicals to the area to begin the repair process. This is a good thing in the short term, but in many people over 50, the inflammatory process never fully switches off. Low levels of inflammatory chemicals are constantly circulating through the body. This is driven by a combination of factors: processed food diets, sedentary lifestyles, poor sleep, excess body weight, chronic stress, and the normal aging process itself. This chronic background inflammation makes everything worse. It makes disc degeneration progress faster. It makes facet joint arthritis more painful. It makes nerve compression more symptomatic. It makes muscles tighter and more reactive, and it makes that morning stiffness more pronounced and longer lasting. The solution for chronic inflammation: diet is one of the most powerful tools for reducing chronic inflammation. Reducing processed foods, refined sugars, trans fats, and excess alcohol makes a measurable difference in inflammatory markers within weeks. Adding anti-inflammatory foods, fatty fish like salmon and sardines, olive oil, turmeric, ginger, leafy greens, berries, and nuts, provides the body with the building blocks it needs to regulate inflammation more effectively. Sleep quality is also critically important. The majority of your body's anti-inflammatory repair processes happen during deep sleep. Poor sleep drives inflammation. Improving your sleep, which we covered in depth in video 1, directly reduces the chronic inflammation that drives morning stiffness. And regular moderate exercise, not too intense but consistent, is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory interventions available. The morning routine from video 2 is not just building strength and mobility, it is actively reducing the chronic inflammation that is causing your morning stiffness. Let me bring everything together. Your morning back stiffness after 50 is not one single problem. It is the result of several converging changes happening simultaneously in your body, and now you understand each one of them. Disc dehydration. Address it with consistent hydration and regular movement throughout the day. Loss of muscle mass. Address it with consistent resistance exercise targeting your back, core, and glutes. Facet joint arthritis. Address it with gentle morning movement, heat therapy, and anti-inflammatory nutrition. Fascia tightening overnight. Address it with sustained stretching, hydration, and regular self-massage. Sciatica and nerve involvement. Address it with specific targeted stretches for your type of sciatica, gentle walking, and medical evaluation if you have not already had one. Chronic inflammation. Address it with diet, sleep quality, and consistent moderate exercise. None of these solutions are complicated. None of them require expensive treatments or medications. They require consistency. They require doing the right things regularly over time. Your back after 50 can feel dramatically better than it does right now. I see it happen with my patients every single week. The ones who understand what is happening in their body and take consistent targeted action are the ones who get their lives back. And that is exactly what this channel is here to help you. If this video helped you understand your back pain in a way that nobody has explained to you before, I would love to hear from you. Comment below and tell me where you are watching this from. It means a lot to hear from you. And if you found this valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new video. Every week I put out new content specifically designed to help Americans over 50 understand their back and take real control of their pain. See you in the next one.